I watched the People versus Mumbo Jumbo trial, and let me say, it did not go as I expected. So I will be recapping the trial and tell you what I think each side should have done if they wanted to win the trial. I also need to note that this is not coming from an area of expertise, and this is simply what I think they should have done based on my limited knowledge of the American legal system. This trial was about the noise caused by Mumbo's shop and a loss of sales at XB's store, which XB wants compensation for. Doc argued that XB was being nothing but nice in trying to find a solution, while Mumbo decided to throw a cubic meter of bricks in XB's window, and created a noise machine as a response. Scar argued that Mumbo doesn't have the dexterity to throw this cubic meter of bricks, and a noise machine could have been made by anyone. Both argued that they were representing the smaller shop, and the other was a nuisance, causing them to receive strikes for talking over each other. Edubs ultimately said everyone was at fault and gave multiple punishments. Honestly, there is so much to dive into with this trial. When I did my first analysis video on this case, I forgot just how chaotic this court system is. B-dubs threw a number of curveballs in this case, including adding a jury in the middle of the trial. This may help either party, as a regular jury is meant to go through a jury selection process to ensure impartial judgment. But these people came specifically to spectate this trial, so they likely came with a preconceived notion of how the trial should go, especially with someone like Zombie Cleo, who sued Doc in this very courthouse, and Joe Hills, who Mumbo previously asked to audition to be his lawyer. Since I'm not sure what each thought process the jurors had going into this trial, this honestly could affect both parties positively or negatively. Meetups also brought up the fact that XB offered him Prismarine, which he does not have the permit for, which led XB to say he's offering Prismarine to people for free, an offer that Meetups extended to everyone in the court. There is also the strike system, which is so crazy it makes the trial so funny. Honestly, if one side just decided to stop talking, the trial probably could have ended early due to how many strikes each side gained just from running their mouths. On top of that, there were other crazy moments by the defense and plaintiffs themselves, like human ventriloquism and the plaintiff interviewing the defense, despite the fact that that's what their lawyers are supposed to do. But what could each side have done to try to improve their arguments? I'll start with the plaintiffs first, who actually did really well for themselves. Doc dismantled Scar's argument of Mumbo being not dexterous enough to throw the brick by having him toss a golden carrot, and that was brilliant. The main thing they could have done to improve was try to tie the loss of sales to the noise, which they did with I. Jevin, but I. Jevin has a conflict of interest as one of the plaintiffs. The best thing to do is to interview a previous shopper and ask them why they're not shopping anymore. Though, if XB's survey is anything to go on, that might not work in their favor. Also, the plaintiffs would not have gotten as many strikes if Doc had not stopped the trial to find the ore snatcher. This is why you pick your lawyers wisely. Do not derail a trial for an entirely different case. It will annoy everyone and will not help your current case. Moving on to the defense, let me get the obvious out of the way. Mumbo should have told his lawyer everything related to the case. You do not want to blindside your lawyer when evidence comes to light in the courtroom like what happened with the noise machine. Sure, Scar could have prepared better considering he created his argument on the spot, but he cannot account for everything if his defendant does not tell him the entire context. Also, they should have brought in some witnesses. I know I just said they did not prepare at all, but if they did, they should have brought in one of XB's old shoppers and have them say why they didn't shop there anymore. As long as the reason isn't the noise or debris, Mumbo is fine. He can also bring in some of the people whose faces XB used on the protester armor stands and see if they actually wanted to protest the shop, as that is a portrayal of false light. If people place someone's face on something that contains an opinion the person doesn't agree with, it will lead people to believe that person in question has that opinion. In my previous video discussing this case, I argued that Pearl had this exact issue since her face was on the protesting armor stands, despite the fact that she does not have an issue with Mumbo's shop. Pearl would have been a perfect witness for Mumbo and Scar to have as she could discuss both the reason for the loss in sales and the betrayal of the false light. B-Dubs then decided it'd be better to punish everyone. XB has to pay Scar's lawyer fees for Mumbo, Mumbo has to be the server butler for 2 weeks, and Doc has to be on the Skyblock Island for 24 hours to prevent him from derailing cases to find the ore snatcher. And I'm going to be honest, I actually really liked these punishments. After this trial, it's safe to say that both parties did not have the best arguments and did some annoying things in this trial. Sure, XB may have created a bigger reaction out of the noise than was necessary, but the noise machine was a bit overkill on Mumbo's part. Plus, Doc also received a punishment for derailing the trial, which was really funny to see in the trial videos, which I highly recommend watching. There's only so much I can cover in a recap analysis video, but there are so many funny moments I did not mention. Plus, these punishments are way fairer than what the plaintiffs were originally suggesting. But what do you think? How was the trial? Was there anything y'all think the defense and plaintiffs should have done to strengthen their arguments, or maybe other witnesses they should have brought to the courtroom to better their argument? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see me cover this trial in more detail, watch this video on how I thought Mumbo could have won his case. And if you want to see me theorize more about Season 10, watch this video on why I think Cub could be the villain of Hermitcraft Season 10. And with that, I hope you all have a magnificent day, and I'll see you all later.